Hello everybody and welcome to the post-mortem analysis of the Sunburn Islands. And today we're just going to be revisiting all the areas and making sure that, well, we round it off in style. After all, it's been a great series. So as you can see, the Victory Monument is now complete. Yay me. Beat the map on hardcore, obviously. So yeah, we got all the walls and ore blocks. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to take a look back at all the areas and remember some of the fun times and talk a bit about the map, what I thought was good, what I thought might have been improved a little, and other enjoyable things about the map. So I never noticed this sugarcane was here. I wish I had now, because if I had have done, then I could have done a lot more with that, but never mind. There we are. So, before we even reached the Victory Monument, we spawned in this world. So, we spawned all the way over here. And I didn't know a whole lot about what this map was about. All I knew was the fact that it was called the Sunburn Islands, and it looked rather deserty and coastal at the same time. So, sort of like beaches and that kind of thing. So, we spawned right over here. I don't know what happened to that tree. So here's where we spawned. Welcome to Super Hostile number 9, the Sunburn Islands. We've got all of the signs and information. That was pretty cool. We spawned, and obviously I ended up swimming over here, and I went in this cave. There was nothing in here in terms of monsters, but there was some coal. I remember mining a load of coal out here, and I actually used up my pickaxe. There's a chest here too. It was empty. Yeah, I mined out all the coal here, but then I had to just like bash my way out, essentially, using all cool, like using my fist on the sandstone. But we got ourselves out of that mess. Now I remember on this island there was a wool, and it was called Lucky Break. It was the brown wool, and I'm just trying to locate it because I would like to see that one again. Was it? No, it was not down here. That's where we came out the tunnel. Somewhere on this island there was the Lucky Break place. Positive that it was right on this island, over here somewhere. Or did I use sand to climb out of it? I probably did. No. Well, I can't seem to find it, but yeah, there was a dungeon here. Called Lucky Break, and it held the brown wool. Very, very easy. There was no monsters. It was kind of like a troll wool, if you will. It was very simple. There was not a whole lot to it, really. But it was enjoyable. A funny start, I guess, would be the correct word to use. Really enjoyable to actually do. And then we obviously wandered over here to this place where the main islands were, and I took a wander across here collecting wood and stuff, and then we ended up at the Victory Monument, which we have already been to, so I'm not going to revisit that area. Then we went off in pursuit of, I believe, the white wool. Was it the white wool? In the easy newbie dungeon. The easy newbie dungeon was very easy. There was simply just 2 spawners in there, and that was it. Essentially, all it was essentially just this. I think there was a spawner in that wall there, or round here somewhere, and then again there was one down here somewhere. Oh yeah, there was one chest of some sort back there, and then there was, yeah, no, here's where the chest was, where there was a load of stuff in that chest. Then the other way was the actual wool. Yeah, and there was a spawner back there. This was before, from what I understand, the fleecy box model was invented. Then obviously that's why the fleecy boxes didn't look like actual fleecy boxes. And then there was here Dungeon 2, Haunted Mines, which led on from that. This area was the challenging part. Because of the resources we had, it was very limited this early on. But there was a load of stuff in there by the looks of things that I never collected. This area wasn't too bad though. I did like the sort of the design of this area quite a lot. Still quite a few monsters in here now. I never fully explored this place. Was that the wool? No, that was just a chest. Another chest in there with some cool stuff in it. So I never fully explored this area. And I'm beginning to lag quite a bit. But I remember the wool was down here somewhere, down one of these chambers. Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. And there was the orange wool. So yeah, I remember that place. This area was relatively challenging, but it wasn't too bad. I did like the layout of this area. I know this map was designed before many of the modern MC edit techniques were available, and stuff like World Edit wasn't around back then. I mean, this was built in beta 1.7.3, I think, or if World Edit was around, it was in a very, very primitive stage. I don't think I did Dungeon 3 straight away. I might not necessarily do these dungeons in order, but these are what I think I did them in. So yeah, we did this one, we did that place. Not bad in terms of challenge, but obviously it wasn't the hardest dungeon we've faced. So I remember on this island that there was like an overgrown area. I think it was this place down here, and there was an access point down here somewhere to that. Was it around here somewhere? Ah, it was here. That was it. And there was this long hall down, and this was let's see, does it say the dungeon name? Or yeah, Dungeon 3, Deep Trouble. This was the magenta wool. I did not do this one straight away. Deep Trouble. Oh goodness me, I got lucky with this area, and I take no shame in saying that. I got very lucky in this area. Purely because of the fact that I didn't get too many creepers blowing things up. Still spawners in here and various bits still left untouched. This area was very challenging, especially for a third dungeon. This kind of, you had the nice introduction and you got your iron armor and that kind of thing. Then this area really was the tough challenge. This was a big step up in terms of hostility over the other ones. And I know, yeah, parts of it did blow up and stuff fell in. Flint and steel in there. And then obviously we came down here. I don't think there was actually any spawners in this area. But, oh yeah, there were, but I took them out, didn't I? Yeah, so you came down here, relatively small dungeon in comparison to some of the others, but then the wool obviously was in here. We got magenta. Yeah, so this area I remember getting bombarded with arrows here and ended up with like 50 arrows stuck in me. You weren't here a minute ago, so you obviously spawned from a spawner. But yeah, that was this area. Actually, you could have beaten that very easily. All you had to do is essentially run in and go through here, and then down there and in. So I kind of went about it the long way around, as I do, but it wasn't too bad. Let's just get back out here. So yeah, this was Deep Trouble. I did that one I think near the end actually, rather than the start. I think the dungeon I actually did third was that painting place. That was connected to this island, I remember that. It was connected to this island. Or one of the islands anyway it was connected to. I remember, yeah, this place over here. This was the one I did third, from what I can remember. And obviously you came down here through some sort of entrance hatch place down here. Yeah, like this, and then obviously this area was relatively challenging because it was all made of glass. So creepers were a big threat, and obviously you came around here. I think a creeper blew up here actually, by the looks of things. So this area posed a challenge. I think I remember myself getting into a little bit of a mess here. I never actually checked any of these chests, and there was actually, by the looks of things, a lot of useful loot in here. The redstone might have been handy. Let's just climb through here, and then obviously this was the final room. But I think a creeper blew this area up. Yeah, a creeper did blow this area up. Stack of torches in there. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, a creeper blew up here. And I ended up with like a stack and a half of paintings. Honestly, I've never had so many paintings. Creeper down there. But yeah, this area was not terribly challenging, but enough. It was challenging enough. And obviously we got the pink from here. I'm gonna just head straight out through the ocean. So yeah, we did that place. Still relatively challenging. Ooh, chest down there. There was a lot of places I didn't fully check out. I remember doing this place. I don't think we did this one very quickly into the map. I think I did this quite late on, but this little sort of covered up area. Hello, zombie. Dungeon 4 Hidden Leaf. This area, I never properly found out, but I know there was lava down here, so I stayed well away from that. Yeah, I never really understood this place, to tell you the truth. Did I dig my way to where I was meant to be in this area, because I couldn't find where I was meant to be going? Yeah, oh no, this is the entrance again. Was there spiders here? There might have been. Oh yeah, I remember spiders here. There was a lot of spiders here at some point. Where did I go? Did I dig down? I must have done. So I can't even remember where I went in this dungeon. Oh yeah, there's a stairwell here. Yeah, this dungeon was quite confusing. It had no layout to it, which made it quite confusing. Enderman block there. And then here was the wall. This kind of followed, though, a linear path. You just had to look around, really. And then, obviously, here was your way out. And I think there were some spawners here. And this was meant to work, but didn't because of the update. Fixed the flying boats to the surface, unfortunately. Hey, look at that. There's a zombie with leather armor on. So we did that area. I think that was all the dungeons actually on the main islands. I think there was only 5. Wow, I didn't realise there was this many monsters on land during night time. Because I know I fought a lot of them, but I didn't realise there was just this many. So yeah, that was a big thing with this map, actually, talking of monsters. This was a big thing. Because of the lack of spawnable area, they all kind of crowdsourced on islands and stuff, which made it very challenging. It was always hostile, but on the advantage side of things, the fact that there was always a lot of monsters around meant that there was easy XP to get. So that was kind of the advantage with that area. Yeah. Back of the Victory Monument there. So, moving on, we started on the off the island areas. So we did the first 5, and then we started on the off the island areas. So there was a lot on this map off the island. The thing is with that is there was no clear signposting to it, to where we were actually meant to be going. So that was probably something which maybe in certainly my maps I might have done, but I think at the time it didn't matter. I'm not criticising this map in the slightest. I love this map completely. I love this map, but it was just sort of, for me as a player, I had to work out that there was more dungeons than what was on the islands. But that's okay. Mist could pass. I think I came out that way rather than in. I know I broke into this place rather than finding the door in. I actually just dug down and actually found where I was meant to be going. Let's see if I can find where I dug in. Ah, was it down here? Yeah, I think it was. Here was where the wool was, the lime wool for this area. Plenty of iron here, but I already had iron from the original dungeon. Some spawners here. Yeah, I think I broke in somewhere rather than actually found my way in. I think it might have been somewhere like down here or something, and then I ended up doing a skydive out. Oh, there was some pretty cool stuff in there. And I ended up doing like a coming out of this door and then just going wah, sploosh. And that's how that kind of evolved. I did skydive. But yeah, this area was fun. I didn't spend a whole while there because obviously I broke in and I kind of almost instantaneously found the wool. So that area I can't explain a whole lot about. Then we did Sky High to Die. Man, this place was certainly small and hostile, that's for sure. I'll never forget this place. There's a load of ghasts in it. Yeah, I'll never forget this place. All the ghasts in this place were pretty weird, to be honest. This area had such little spawning space as well. But it was cool. I like this area. It kind of reminded me of, anyone seen the Beach Bowl Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy? Oh, still got XP there from when we took on this place. If you remember that, then you'll know what I'm talking about, what this area was like. But this area was quite fun. Quite small, but really hostile. I know I never checked this. There was probably a load of goodies in there which I could have used. And obviously here was the wool. Was this green? Yeah, it was green. Because I had a massive mess around. Because I only wanted to take one wool, but I was being pushed off. So that was an interesting kind of faff about in that dungeon. But that wasn't too bad. It was rather small but hostile, but it wasn't too bad in terms of hostility. I think I went and did the toy boats. Well, I called them toy boats. The dungeon was called Ghost Fleet, but I did that. So let's just fly over there now. And I didn't spend very long at this area at all, but because I almost instantaneously found the wool as soon as I landed on the ship. It was again a very, very small dungeon. There was not a lot to it. But what was there was pretty cool. I remember there being a lot of loot on the Ghost Fleet, and there was a lot of cool loot there too. I think that's where I found some diamond leggings, I think, and a load of bottle o' enchantings as well. Yeah, here it is, the Ghost Fleet. So this possessed a rather unique challenge. Actually being on the boat, I had redstone here. I never bothered to pick it up, but there was a good source of redstone here, and I remember there being all sorts of junk in these. And when you went down here, it was almost instant. It was, oh, still stuff here from when I killed the mobs that I never picked up. There was a lot of stuff here. There was even a locked chest. Ton of coal in here. Golden hose. Paper, all sorts. This was like the looting dungeon. The dungeon where there was just so much loot, it was unreal. And at the very, very end was the purple wool. I remember doing this area, and this area was relatively small, and there wasn't a lot of monsters because I took it on in daytime rather than nighttime, so it made this area quite easy, actually. I never bothered to check to see if there was any other loot. There was a ton of arrows that I could have took, I guess. There were some spawners on board there, but there was no loot on those. So yeah, yeah, Ghost Fleet. There's not a whole lot more to say about that because I didn't spend very long here. What was in that chest? Never checked that one. No, just more random loot. So yeah, down we went from there and we did the oil rig place. This was so small and so distant. It took me a while to actually find it. I remember. This was a very, very small dungeon. This little oil rig beyond the toy boats. I think it was called like the oil rig. There was something down there, but I never bothered to check what it was. And yeah, there was the light grey wool or something. Yeah, this was the light grey wool. There was not a whole lot here. There was not a whole lot to say about it, to be honest, because of that. You just kind of like your average oil rig, really. Was there anything down here, or was it just lava on its own? Down here, I never bothered to check, really. Yeah, I think it's just lava. Yeah, there was nothing down here. I thought there might have been, but there was nothing down here. But this area was bizarre, if anything, because it was so distant. There was not a whole lot here. just this, and you kind of had to shut the lava off and then just kind of scramble for the wool, I guess. That was what you were meant to do with this area. I know there were some controls in here. I never really messed with those, and I remember there being some, yeah, there was some loot up here, but there was nothing imminently useful. But yeah, small, convenient, compact, nice little dungeon. Could have been quite hostile here at night, but obviously I came in the day, so I didn't probably experience the full kind of thing with the dungeon. So moving swiftly on from there, I didn't go here next, but the Lonely Island, the I'm on a boat thing. Yeah, this area was bizarre. Again, a lot of these areas had nothing to do with each other, and I think that's kind of what made this map so unique, the amount of different techniques in use. And the Lonely Island was interesting. We'll go with interesting. Where you had to ride the boat, and I tried my best, but I never really was able to do this. Still all stuff when stuff burned up here, when I got out of the dungeon. But I remember this place. It was, yeah, it was interesting. It was kind of annoying, kept being popped off by skeletons all the time. But I guess that was kind of the fun of the dungeon. This was a fun, unique, new style of area. I'd not seen it done before, where you actually had to ride the boat to get to the wool. Was there any creepers here? Because I remember there being a lot of creepers here. But this area is quite small, quite easy. Yeah, there were creepers here. I thought there might have been. Creeper, zombie, and I guess skeleton, yeah. So this area, blue wool, was relatively easy. A different type of challenge, which is what I enjoyed about this area. There was something different. I think in this map there was something for everyone. More than anything, there was just something for everyone in this map. Whether you like parkour, that was in the map. Whether you liked, well, I wouldn't say there was puzzle in the map, but there was like little adventure things and little fun activities to do within the dungeons like this one. So it kind of made it a map for everybody, as opposed to just being a very sort of niche, super hostile fan type map. So yeah, that area, a new challenge, something which I think I can see being used again in maps, and it probably would be a success, because we don't really do a lot with boats in vanilla. So the thing is with the super hostile maps in general, that they give you access to things which you wouldn't normally use in vanilla, such as high level enchanted items and minecarts more easily. So you get the full game when it's been provided for you. Now, next we did the dismal deep dark depths. I'm not going down there again, but this area, my god, this area was horrendous. I remember it taking me 2 attempts at it, one for the diamond block and one for the red wool. I will never ever do a place like this again. This area was dreadful. I hated this area. Ooh, something here, little webs. Big chest of awesome. Well, there was just kind of a little bit of everything in that chest, isn't there? Kind of sums up the map really, just a little bit of everything for everybody. This dungeon was so huge, I could never find my way around it, which made it such a challenge to actually try and get everything. It was such a challenge. I'm not going down there. I don't really have much to say about it. It was easy to get lost in that dungeon. There was no real markers, and that kind of was the true super hostile experiences, where that began in that dungeon. It was where sort of like the harder maps have evolved from. So you kind of got a bit of everything, some easy, some hard. Wow, I think there's only, what, 2 dungeons left to talk about? There's the Sphinx area. Oh no, we've got 3. The Sphinx area, the Frozen Tropics area, and the Nether-based area. So let's head over to the Sphinx. Again, I'm not really going to venture down into the Sphinx, because the Sphinx kind of summed up this map very, very well. There was a range of different things. There was areas of parkour, there was areas of fighting monsters, there was areas of just like general thinking. So the Sphinx was kind of, it kind of summed up this map nicely. It was one of those areas that everybody could kind of play, because it had a bit of everything for everybody in there, and that's what I liked about that dungeon quite a lot, was the fact it had something for everyone in it. All the monsters are out now, of course, but this is what I liked about this area. Whoops. There's not a whole lot more to talk about it. I think I tunneled some of this area because of the volume of monsters, but yeah, this area was cool. I enjoyed this area because of the fact it had a range of different activities to do rather than just one or maybe two activities. So yeah, kind of the island was a bit bashed up, but I guess that kind of sums it up nicely. Hey, Zombling! Oh, I thought that was a baby guy, but no, he's just sat down there chilling. But yeah, again, great area. Kind of sums the map up nicely, and was a fun area to do. Mixture of activities. It wasn't just all fighting monsters. I think sometimes some map makers, I know Vechs doesn't do this, but some map makers who are new to the CTM genre think if you throw enough monsters at the player, that's going to be enough to kill them, and that's it. That's the whole aim of the series. For me, it's not all about just throwing monsters. I like to incorporate other things to it as well, such as thinking, and actually not just about brute force all the time. So that is what I like to incorporate, and this is what this map has done. And I know Vechs likes to incorporate more than just monsters and spawners all the time. For example, you can use custom spawners to do different things now, and you can use puzzles and traps, and more than just throwing loads and loads of monsters at a player, because sometimes that can get rather boring. So the Sphinx area kind of diversified it a bit and made it a lot more interesting, because you never knew what was coming next. So that kept things alive and interesting, for me personally anyway. So next up, before we do the Nether area, was the Frozen Tropics. Frozen Tropics was a dungeon that self-destructed itself. Was the easiest way to put what Frozen Tropics was. Frozen Tropics never really made much sense. It was one of them dungeons where nobody could kind of work out what it was meant to do. For me, it was very short. I think I kind of got quite lucky though, because down here, because it was made of snow, it kind of self-destructed itself very quickly. And I know that there was spawners of stuff down here and all sorts. And a diamond shovel there, I never even picked up. And when a creeper blew up, it literally destroyed parts of the whole dungeon. So that's what made it so challenging. Oh, would you look at that? He's picked up a snowball. And here was the wool right here. Where did it go out to? If you actually came here, around sort of this area, you would actually go straight into the back of the wool. Yeah, right here, if you climbed up here, you would go right into the back of the wall. So that was the thing with that area. It could be very easy, but at the same time, because creepers going off, it destroyed the whole dungeon. So you had to then deal with hostile terrain navigation, and your inventory kept being filled up all the time. So it was a rather unique challenge in that sense. But yeah, still a load of snowballs in there. But yeah, that was that dungeon, and that dungeon was one of the last I actually did. I didn't think monsters could spawn on ice, so I don't know how he got here. Never mind. So last up was the Nether Citadel place. Now I never checked whether this was just natural spawns, or whether there was actually spawners. Oh, there was something on top. Oh, just a random loot chest. Okay. Didn't miss anything major, like a sharpness 10 diamond sword or something. This area was unique. It incorporated something which I'd not seen before. And it was more than just monsters, it was really hostile terrain, at the same time as having monsters to deal with in this bit. So that was something that you had to consider when facing this area before you actually even got here. So it used a lot of new techniques. This map kind of paved the way for later maps. That's what I say anyway. I don't know whether Vechs agrees with me here, but this map kind of paved the way for future maps. A lot of ideas was tested in this map to see if they would work, and I've seen similar things reappear in later maps. For example, the Dismal Deep Dark Depths, Wheel Float evolved from that. I think personally Vechs might know something different, but that's what I think anyway. I think this map was sort of like a preview to some of the newer maps. So yeah, this area, the actual Nether Citadel itself, it was kind of again like the Sphinx. It was just a series of puzzles all the time, rather than just being very linear monster fighting, which is what I quite enjoyed about this area, because it gave it more purpose than just to how shall I say it? It gave it more purpose than just simply say, alright, let's fight some monsters. It kind of gave it some more purpose. And the fact it was made of bedrock as well made it that you couldn't really break any blocks, which made it a more unique challenge for me. And the fact that it was incorporated into the existing nether, I think, was very, very well done. Because very often in the overworlds and sometimes as well with the nether, it often just gets deleted and then rebuilt upon. And some of Vechs maps do that at the moment. But I think the fact that this was sort of built into the existing nether was a really good idea. And I like that. I really do like that. And obviously with the new 1.4 update, there were wither skeletons, which gave it a lot of fun and a bit of a different challenge than just normal skeletons all the time. So yeah, that was kind of it, honestly. A very new type of challenge here, and again it incorporated many different puzzles and sort of different ideologies and ideas, which is what I enjoyed a lot about this map. So yeah, that is pretty much in a nutshell the whole Post-Mortem. So why don't we just return to the Victory Monument and sign off for one last time. So let's see. Just climb out of this place. So peace is once again restored to the Sunburn Islands-ish. We did a bit of a bodged job of it in some places. But we did our best, and I enjoyed this map a lot. It's really gave me a different look at CTMs and gave me a lot of ideas for future maps if I decide to incorporate some of the different ideas, such as the parkour ideas in there and the boat challenges, things like that. I think it's really paved the way for some great CTM maps in the future, and Vechs will probably use ideas from this map in new maps that he has, and I think that will be awesome, because this map was unique in the sense that it incorporated so many different challenges and was very exciting, and it didn't keep to one theme as well. It kept to the theme of the Sunburn Islands, but it didn't keep to the same theme of monsters, monsters, monsters. It kind of mixed it up a bit. Well, there we go. Let's see, let's head in here for one last time and let's sign off once again. So it's been a good few months doing this map. Obviously I'll have Waking Up. I've not made my mind up at the moment which Vechs map I will do next, sort of after this one as a replacement, but I'm just going to be finishing up with Waking Up. But yeah, Super Hostile number 9 is complete, and I've enjoyed it so much. Let's just take one last look at the Victory Monument. Let's wave goodbye. I will offer this map for download along with the rest of them. The Sea of Flame map, the Story No Longer map, this will all go together in a bundle. And you'll be able to download that from the description below. It won't be live straight away, but I will make sure it's live as soon as possible. But yeah, that was it. And that is it for the series. So I hope you've enjoyed this series, guys. And I hope that in the coming series that you enjoy those as well. There's some random sand here. I hope you enjoy the upcoming maps that I've got planned, and I hope you've enjoyed this very sort of, I wouldn't say it's been a long time in Sunburn Islands, but I hope you've enjoyed watching me play this map. That's the best way of putting it. So yeah, I'm beginning to ramble now, so Thanks for watching the series, guys, and I hope to see you in my next CTM map series, which is going to be, well, I've got 2 smaller ones I'm waking up, so I hope to see you in one of those. And until then, guys, see you later and have a good day.